Welcome back, my friends, to the joyful celebration of visual storytelling. I'm Ben Granoff. I'm a cartoonist and educator, and it's been a big week for me. A lot of things have happened. Um, Sadly, my grandmother died. Excitingly, the Florida Panthers, not my team, but I root for this team, won the Stanley Cup for the first time in 30 years. They came close. Now they won. And the Diamond Previews catalog came out with the listing for a book that I worked on for the first time in me trying to and working in and around comics for 20 years in New York City. So that's a real benchmark. I was always very, very careful to word my sort of status as a cartoonist as I saw it as working in and around comics in New York City. That phrase was sort of integral to my personality because I've always felt that, when I was working on these sort of underground or fan or amateur press association type projects or small press or micro press or whatever, explaining the context of what I was doing to anyone outside of comics was wild. Oh, I can't the baby. But now, to me, this is the industry. This is going to market, and I'm not a ruthless capitalist, but it's nice to be. It's nice to sort of to enter the arena. So this is the previews catalog, and what this is a giant pop cultural. Every piece of printed matter license. Every time I turn the page, you may or may not see something that you recognize. You may or may not be looking at something that is in revival. You may be looking at something that you find appealing or unappealing. There's every taste and tone and genre. Every piece of cartoon. This looks cool. Every piece of cartoon. We'll get more on this later. Every piece of cartoon printed matter that's going to come out is in here. And so what that means is that every item has a code, and you order from the code. You're there. This is the reason I'm here. This is Cosmic Line Productions' very first solicit in Diamond. And this is the book that I worked in and around in New York City on. I say that because this book, the 270-page hardcover that I showed you that existed as 6 issues of an autobiographical, independent, alternative comic. I sort of connected the publisher and the creatives together. So I'm very, very proud to have made that happen and to see that it gets such a spotlight. But I'm also really proud to see that it's adjacent and offered with other people whose work and personalities I just adore. Ro Higashi and Ben Perkins. Their work is great. They're good people, and I think that what Eli Schwab is doing is, I think Eli Schwab is positioning himself to be a significant and important and gregarious, good time impresario of comics for many years to come. We all wish Eli 1,000 blessings in this new venture in the chapter of CLP. One wanted to note that on either side of the tab are the titty books of my youth, which is I'm glad to see that they're still coming out, I suppose. But there's all kinds of other stuff in here. And the other thing I wanted to look back on that I noticed in flipping through was, as I saw earlier, Marley's Ghost, also by Gideon Kendall. When I got this, I happened to just open up by this. This is finally coming into print. This is a book. This is an absolutely fantastic adaptation of Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol, it's probably one of the best comics anyone would ever read, especially someone who isn't have comic books coming out of their goddamn ears. Yeah. Who doesn't love this story? It's done so well. It's adapted from layouts and notes by Harvey Kurtzman of Mad Magazine fame, and put together with Gideon Kendall, Josh O'Neill, his frequent collaborator, and Too Much Coffee Man and all-around funny guy Shannon Wheeler. This is one of the best comics you'll ever read. So, and the 4 pages that it shows off are pretty demonstrative of that. So anyway, that is that's the Diamond catalog, and that's the first time that a book that I've worked in has been featured in Diamond, and thus I consider myself working in comics. And I'm really proud of that. It's been a long road to sort of learn to adjust my language. I don't work around comics, I work in comics. I work on comics, and I love making comics. And I would make comics and love making comics no matter what happened to the industry. There's so much chatter, there's so much pessimistic chatter about why the industry's bad and why numbers are bad. And like, come on, man, gaming ate comics lunch, and it's for artisanal, appreciators of sequential art. Like, it's if you want comics the way, make the comics that you want to read. If you don't see the comics that you want to read, just make them. So I care not a fig. I conditioned myself to do so about the comics industry because I faced 20 years of hard uphill, sometimes not great experiences and rejection, right? So I decided maybe about halfway through the journey that even if no one ever engaged with my social media posts or said a nice thing about my work or asked me about my work, I would still want to do it. It's tough to say this when I've been fighting. I feel like I'm on the other end of it, but I fought creative block for almost a year after the death of a friend of mine. So this is honestly like the configuration of my family changed twice in the last 3 months. All this stuff is happening now, so this is a real. It's like I want to preserve, when I go through the books, I want to like preserve the sense memory of them before they get destroyed. I want to really be able to reflect on this moment without any expectations. Like, I can't, there's no reality where I quit my job to go work on comic books full-time for Cosmic Lion Productions. So like I can't do that, but I can continue to make my books and to have my publishers back because I know they'll have mine, and to do it with my friends. In 20 years, what I learned is that the best times I ever had making comics was the best times I ever had in comics was making cool stuff with my friends and making good friends, and the camaraderie that came along with that was really way better than a lot of other stuff, especially sometimes even just like reading comics. I'm quite proud of myself, and I think it's healthy and good to pat myself on the back. I have been told that I've been known to be humble, and that is by design, because as a younger man I was not humble, and it did not serve me well. And every time I forget my humility in and around comics, it does not serve me well. So it's important to remember to move forward in only positive and friendly directions. And like Von Bodhi, I'm a teach wizard. Never quit, and so won't you listen. Semper Comics.